What is going on, everybody? It is your boy Colby, also known as Patriots Global, back here with another live stream in real time to break down another selection the New England Patriots have made here in the 2025 NFL Draft. We've already broken down what they've done in the first round. We did our specific live stream on Will Campbell. We also broke down TreVeyon Henderson maybe an hour ago. So if you want to hear more about those players, see my reactions, make sure you guys go ahead and check out both of those videos on my YouTube channel in case you're watching on Twitter at Patriots Global under the live stream. But with their first third round pick, the New England Patriots are going back to back to back on offense, baby. Absolutely loving the philosophy. This time they are adding to wide receiver, selecting. Oh, I realized we just put TreVeyon Henderson up here. Excuse me, real quick. We gotta change that real quick here, guys, because they didn't select TreVeyon Henderson. No, they did not. We gotta change this real quick. We're doing this in real time, fellas. How about that? See, I didn't even need anybody to tell me. I knew it this time. Real quick, we gotta change this. This is what happens when you don't have a co-host, right? You kind of have to just do everything yourself. Where is the Kyle Williams graphic that I just made? I think it's right. I think we have it right here. There we go. There we go. We're changing it in real time, guys. Don't worry. I saw the name down there, and I was like, wait a minute. I don't think that's right. But the New England Patriots in the third round going back to back to back on offense. They are taking wide receiver Kyle Williams. They add in the trenches early on. They give Drake Maye some help in the backfield with a fresh running back in TreVeyon Henderson. And this time they are giving him a wide receiver. Going one of the best players available at wide receiver. I don't want to say it's good value for the Patriots, but they most certainly did not reach. This was a guy that was a projected third round pick. He was expected to go somewhere between about 65 to about 80. So he went in that typical range on where he was supposed to go. He was a guy, especially towards the end here, who was rising up draft boards. Now, if you guys saw my video earlier breaking down players that I realistically could see the Patriots go after, Kyle Williams was one of them, along with another wide receiver by the name of Jalen Knoll. Both of these guys were on the board still. The Patriots could have gone Jalen Knoll out of Iowa State, or they could have went with Kyle Williams. Both guys that the Patriots met with 3 times during the pre-draft process. So the Patriots were very, very big on Kyle Williams, but they were also very, very big on Jalen Knoll. So me personally, I'm not going to lie, I like Jalen Knoll a little bit better, and that's not to say I don't like Kyle Williams. There's a lot of hype around him. We'll talk more about him in a second, but I thought Jalen Knoll has the higher floor. I thought that he was more of a can't-miss prospect. I like Jalen Knoll's short area quickness a little bit better than Kyle Williams also. I thought that, Jalen Knoll also fit the typical Josh McDaniels slot receiver that this team needs, the type of guy that he can be a vertical threat for you, but, Jalen Knoll, man, really operates well in the short to intermediate routes, a short-handed wide receiver. Knoll also finished top 5 in every single category for wide receivers at the combine. Felt like a guy that maybe they could go after, and I already know there's going to be comments rolling in. Well, Colby, maybe they can still trade up and get him because Kyle Williams is not simply a slot receiver, right? Jalen Knoll was a guy that, maybe now and then you could play on the outside with that 5'11", 6-foot range, but for the most part, Knoll was only going to be a slot guy. Kyle Williams, you're going to play all over the offensive formation. You're going to put him in the slide. You're going to put him outside. You're going to put him at the X. You're going to put him at the Z. This is a Swiss Army knife for the Patriots, but unfortunately, the Houston Texans just a minute ago took Jalen Knoll. So Jalen Knoll's off the board, which, by the way, not Patriots related. The Houston Texans, Ariante Ursary, Jaden Higgins, Jalen Knoll. Wow, are they building around CJ Stroud right now, doing exactly what they should. But let's go ahead and let's transition here over to Kyle Williams. What are the New England Patriots getting? Now, for those who know me from the AFC East Roundtable, my colleague Dan Mitchell, he's a Buffalo Bills creator for Roundtable Sports. He said just about a week or two ago, he said, a guy that I am absolutely falling in love with is wide receiver Kyle Williams. Dan Mitchell also went as far as to say that he believes that Kyle Williams will be the second best receiver to come out of this draft class. I'm talking out of Emeka Egbuka, Luther Burden, Tetairoa McMillan. He believes that Kyle Williams is going to be the second best receiver to come out of this entire draft class. That is high praise. Now, key stats here when talking about Kyle Williams. He's had 92 receptions for 1,432 yards and 14 touchdowns just in 2024. He had an 85% contested catch rate. He has elite separation. He's very, very good against man coverage. And he was a top 10 wide receiver in yards after the catch from the 2025 draft. So that's an area which I also think the Patriots needed to improve on, was with their wide receivers, getting guys who could create separation. They can get open quick. But again, making Drake Maye's job easier, right? And getting guys who are good after the catch makes Drake Maye's job easier. You know, we thought that they were going to target a big body outside X receiver who's really good in contested catch situations, because that's the type of wide receiver that Mike Vrabel said they were going to try to add this offseason to make life easier on Drake Maye. But that's not how this draft panned out. You had Trey Harris go early in the second. You had Tet go early. Those contested catch guys were flying off pretty quickly on the board. You had Jaden Higgins go early in the second. So they said, we might not get our big outside X guy, but what we can do is we can get a fast guy, a quick guy, elusive guy, and someone that Drake Maye can dump the ball off to, you know, only have to give him like a 5-yard slant, but this guy can take it 15, 20, 25 yards and really start to move the chains. In fact, I like this pick so much that I didn't want to just talk about my own thoughts on the selection, but I also want to invite my boy Rob, who you guys know from our draft watch party yesterday. He was also on with me when we were talking about Will Campbell. So you guys are going to continue to hear about my thoughts on this. We're going to break this down, but let's also get another perspective, and let's go ahead and let's bring on Rob. Rob, how you doing, man?
What's good? What's good? What's good?
Kyle Williams, 3rd round. They pass up on Jalen Noel. Immediate thoughts on this?
Okay, so in my live, I actually predicted Kyle Williams or Jalen Noel was going to be the pick. So I wouldn't have minded either. I was literally up in the air. It's like either one is fine with me. And the thing is, that I like about Kyle Williams is it's speed, and it's a ton of speed. And if you do not get a hand on him, he's running by you.
A 4.4 40-yard dash, by the way, just for the record.
And I think he's faster on the field.
Think he's faster than that?
Yes. I think he is a speed demon. And then in an offense like this, that Josh McDaniels is going to utilize that speed. It's pick your poison now, because Stephon Diggs, if he can return any semblance of what he is in the past, I mean, this is a guy that's coming off of 6 1,000-yard seasons in a row before his ACL injury. This can be very dangerous. I don't think what happened.
He's pretty young, too. He's only 22 years old, 6 foot, 186 yards. Something that I said before you got on, too, is like, I agree with you. Like, so I preferred Jalen Noel, but I think the way that maybe they're looking at this, because, Rob, they met with Kyle Williams and Jalen Noel both
we said this yesterday.
3 times each during the pre-draft process, right? But with Kyle Williams, he's going to play all over the offensive formation because of how quick he is. So maybe they're going with the guy that's a little bit more versatile.
He's a home run. He's a home run.
I completely agree with you.
If he touches the football, has the ability to take it to the house at any given time. That's just how good he is. He is your X. He's going to be your X. He's going to be the guy that takes the top off the defense. And God forbid you don't put a guy that's fast on him, because he's going to run right by you if you don't jam him.
We have some interesting news here, too. I mean, we'll hear more about this as time goes on. This goes with like a report that came with the NFL earlier today, but per Patriots uniform tracker, we got some breaking news saying the Patriots will be getting an alternate uniform this season. So something to watch down the line.
Also something to watch. Didn't Jack Sawyer, he hasn't gone yet still. That just like, this just seems like A+ draft if we go and get him.
One of my favorite things that the Patriots are doing here, though, Rob, is that I liked when they went back-to-back offense. And now they went back-to-back offense. The Patriots, they needed an offensive tackle. That was their biggest need. What did they do? They went out there in the first round. They got an offensive tackle. Now, running back wasn't a big need, but we knew that they wanted to get more dynamic.
He's their running back.
And you know what? Now they have a fast running back who has the ability to develop as a pass catcher, who's really good as, you know, as a pass blocker also. And now you get Kyle Williams, that developmental wide receiver. Now, I don't think that, you know, he's never going to be a wide receiver 1 in Kyle Williams, but Kyle Williams,
I don't know about
going
that,
to be I think he's going to be like a wide receiver 3, wide receiver 2 at best for you, but he's still that complementary piece who has upside to truly develop. I mean, his grade against man coverage, Robin, I think you've known in recent years, one of the biggest problems for our wide receivers has been getting open against press man coverage. He's really good against man. Like, this is the type of guy to where he's always open because you just can't get your hands on him. No defensive back can keep up with him. I mean, an 89.8 overall grade against man coverage. Now, the other downside to him, though, is that he's not the most sure-handed receiver. He has small hands.
100%.
So he's
struggles with drops.
Exactly. And it's because of those small hands. He had a 6.7% drop rate this past season, but he was 15th in the nation this past season in yards after the catch per reception with 8.4. He was 11th in the nation in screen yards. We know that Josh McDaniels is going to love to run those.
3rd and 15. What is it going to be?
32 screen yards this past season. He was also tied for 10th in the nation in deep catches with 14 of them. And he was tied for 18th in the nation for missed tackles forced with 21 of them.
Look, man, anytime he touches the football, he said he has a chance to take it to the house. I think I won't limit him. I think he has the opportunity to be a wide receiver 1. Here's why I say that. Steve Smith Sr., heavily Hall of Fame wide receiver, he compared him to himself. He literally rated Kyle Williams, I believe it was either 6 or 5, 5th best wide receiver in this class. And he sees him have just high potential. And with that speed, man, and just a little bit of development, clean up the drops, man, it really all depends on him. I'm serious. If he just, and who better to learn from a Stephon Diggs?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Like, he has to be better with his hands. Like, that's going to be the biggest part, like I said earlier. But this is a guy who, you know, he has that big play generator. He's going to be a big play for Drake Maye. Really good after the catch. He's really good in contested catch situations. You're getting a guy that can make those tough grabs into tight coverage, but you're also getting a guy who's going to be really quick. And I think how he's going to be utilized is we still have to figure out who that full-time slot is going to be, but this is a guy that can play a little bit in the slot if need be. You have
He's your X. He's your X.
Play the slot. You have Jalen Polk who can play in the slot. I agree with you. I think what he's going to be is he's mainly going to be an outside guy. Despite that size, he's so fast that, Rob, I've been talking on my channel for a while. We're talking about needing a slot receiver. We're talking about who's a contested catch guy. In Josh McDaniels' offense, they have always had this fast guy on the outside that made defenses respect them over the top. Your Nelson Aguilars, your Brandon Cooks, your Phillip Dorsett. They do not have a guy on the roster that fits that build, but Kyle Williams can 100% be that guy.
And he's not just fast, he's quick too. Like, it's just, he is, look, I think I would probably have preferred Jalen Noel because of, if I'm being honest, but this kid is going to be, he could be special. He could be really, really special. Look, I forget my opinion, forget your opinion. If Steve Smith Sr. says this is going to be a top 5 wide receiver in this class, I think I take that. I think I take that opinion very highly.
Is that what he said?
I believe either 5 or 6, but yes, he said that he reminds him of him.
That's high praise. And he doesn't come out and he doesn't just hype up receivers. When he's talking about his receiver rankings, he takes those rankings very seriously. So for him to say he's a top 5, top 6 guy, that is a big dub for the Patriots, and you can see why they went this direction. Big shout out to Mick Goat for the 99-cent super sticker. Helps me out significantly. Now, real quick, before we log off here, before the Patriots make their next pick, I do kind of want to quickly go by what this means for the wide receiver group kind of moving forward, because when they signed Stephon Diggs, that wide receiver group already got tougher. Now you add this move on top of it. Kyle Williams is also going to be a lock for the Patriots. So now you have Stephon Diggs, that's a lock. DeMario Douglas, that's going to be a lock. Kyle Williams, that's going to be a lock. I think that
Outside of that, that's about it. And Matt Collins, maybe.
In my opinion, I think he's going to be a lock. Rob, I think they're going to keep 6 wide receivers. You look at what they've done under Josh McDaniels, how many receivers they keep, it's usually about 6. That means that there is only 2 more roster spots for wide receivers. And those 2 roster spots would have to go to Kendrick Bourne, Javon Baker, Jalen.
I think Bourne's on the chopping block.
And so it's going to be tough, man. It's going to be tough for a lot of these guys to make the roster. Now you can see after this move why somebody like Kayshon Boutte was put on the trade block.
Javon Baker, this move makes him expendable.
So if you had to make a guess, who do you think is the guy that's on the outside looking in?
Kendrick Bourne and Kayshon Boutte.
Really? You don't think Javon Baker?
I think that there's still some untapped potential there, and we've heard stories and rumors that him and Mike Vrabel are like this, and I don't take that lightly. And he has, and before when he was drafted, I think it was who was a wide receiver? Quez Watkins, I think it was. I forget the damn name of it. Tez Watkins. He was drafted by the Ravens.
I know who you're talking about.
Anyways, he was the only person that ran a faster top speed than Javon Baker. So and he had one of the highest contested catch rates and also one of the most contested catches, and that's going up against Rome Odunze and all these other guys that were high flyers. So Javon Baker has some untapped potential, but this definitely puts a target on his back.
I would say if I had to make an early guess, and it's way too early, Rob, right? Because we have the entire offseason process to they don't know who's going to be on the outside looking in. It's a true competition. But if I had to guess, I would say it's Kayshon Boutte and Javon Baker. I think that they still want, some veterans in there. I think Kendrick Bourne mixes very well with the vibes, the atmosphere, the culture they're trying to set. And he had his best statistical season, one of the best under Josh McDaniels. So I think we'll get a better version of Boutte, especially now that he's a year removed from that injury. And I just think Javon Baker, he literally couldn't get playtime last year in a very, very soft coaching room with a really, really bad wide receiver core, and he couldn't get playtime because he couldn't even line up correctly in practice. And then Boutte, with his character concerns, he's also someone that I see on the outside looking in.
I could also see that a Jalen Polk maybe starts the season on the IR. So you have opportunities. Maybe Stephon Diggs may not start the season either. So you have the opportunity to see what you have and these guys that are trying to make the roster, basically.
That's a good point. And I'm trying to see. Someone said, do we trade again? So far, nothing's come in about trading again. But what I will say is that Patriots second, third round pick, they did trade down. So the New England Patriots traded 85. That 77th pick. Yeah, and they traded it to the Carolina.
They traded again.
And in return, they're getting 85 and 146. So the Patriots have officially traded that 85th pick now too?
It's showing that the Chiefs are on the board.
So the details just came in. So the Patriots are trading down again. They've officially traded down 2 times in a row in the third round now. So it looks like the Kansas City Chiefs are getting 85. The Patriots are getting 95 and a next year's 4th round pick.
I'll take it.
Rob.
I'll take it.
Dude, you're trading down what? 10 spots?
And a better draft.
10 spots in the third round, and you're getting a 4th round pick for next year in a way better draft class. I'm a big, big fan of that. A big fan of that trade down.
Hey, listen, Mike Vrabel, Cowden, they're doing their thing.
So for what it's worth, updated picks to this point, right now the Patriots have picked 95 today. So far, that is their final pick we know they'll be making unless they trade back in. And then they have a 4th round pick tomorrow. And they have 3 5th round picks now, and then 0-6. I'd imagine they want to get back into the 6 at some point, and then 2 7th round picks.
I think, one second, let me see if he's still available. I think right now, let me check the status, undrafted. I think Xavier Watts makes a ton of sense.
Think they'll go safety?
Yeah.
I think they'll go edge.
Also, Wyatt Millen makes a ton of sense.
Millen makes a ton of sense. Put him in as your left guard, versatility. That's like your Joe Tooney.
I believe he did not give up a single sack last year. That just makes a ton of sense. And I really like that we're loading up on picks because what's really the difference at this point between 85 and 95 or even anything in the third round moving forward?
Dude, if my ideal scenario, if they trade down and they get either Wyatt Millen to put in at left guard or they get like a Jack Sawyer before the day's over, this has been.
There's still a lot of quality players still on the board, like Xavier Watts, Jalen Royals, Dylan Sampson, Billy Bowman. Like there's Isaiah Bond. I know he's got his legal troubles, but that guy might be a throw a
Now,
wrench in the situation.
is Billy Bowman a free safety or a strong safety?
He is I believe he's a strong safety.
So maybe they surprise us and make that selection, and Doug Peppers is on the outside looking in. But what I will say is that he had the most interceptions returned for touchdowns among safeties in college football.
I think Jack Sawyer just makes too much sense with this next pick.
Dude, too much sense. And I hope he falls there. But if he does, that makes way too much sense. Big shout out to Trey with the $5 donation, by the way, says, might as well stay tuned and watch what they do at 85. Well, Trey, they're not picking at 85 anymore. So
imagine that. They were at what, 75? And they're like, you know what? Let's add 10. You know what? Yeah. Let's add 10.
Let's add 20, actually. But you know what? A future 4th round pick, I'm a huge fan of it. I'm a massive, massive fan of it.
Because you got to look at it like this, man. I know next year's draft is going to be so much better. So why not load up?
Yeah, that's what I said. I said picks for next year are more valuable than picks this year anyway. Big shout out to Will for the $2 super sticker. And then shout out to S27 who comes in and says, F it, draft Shador and trade him after the preseason, man.
Nobody wants him. He's a circus. Nobody wants him.
Shador did this to himself.
The thing is, though, I brought up that situation where when he was playing Stanford, he posted a merch link on, I believe it was Instagram, midway through the game, and they wound up choking that game away. It has to have some kind of freaking repercussions, does it not?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think he did this to himself, even from like what his dad was doing. I think his dad's also a big reason on why he's falling so much. But guys, that is going to wrap it up for our Kyle Williams draft prospect breakdown video. I mean, great pick by the Patriots.
Love it.
Rob, what do you think? What do you think about their draft so far?
It's A+. It really is. I'm serious. Like you address the left tackle position, you address the running back position, which it was a problem, and then you address the wide receiver position. Everything else from this point on is just kind of maybe you get edge. Like if we get Jack Sawyer, that's a perfect draft.
I mean, they're going best player available based on what they feel their needs are for the team. Who was the best offensive tackle available? It was Will Campbell. Who was the best running back available? Travion Henderson. Who was, arguably the best wide receiver available? It was Kyle Williams. So right now, that BPA philosophy, we have to obviously see how they, develop over time. But at face value, it's working out for them.
And I will say that this is the reason why that you were right. Getting Will Campbell put us in a situation where we could go best player available. So there you go.
Exactly.
Shit worked out.
See, because look at the Patriots haven't traded up one time. If they didn't select Will Campbell in the first, they would have had to trade back into the end of the first round. They would have had to have traded up to get Ariante Ursary. Now they're limiting the amount of picks they could have had. But by getting Will Campbell in the first, they were able to stay pat with these picks. And on top of staying pat, they've been able to trade down, get more draft compensation for this year, and get draft compensation for next year. So far, I'm really not upset with what they're doing, Rob.
Oh, I love it. I'm bought in. I'm really bought in.
We really, really appreciate you for kicking it with us here. Talking about Kyle Williams, we already broke down Will Campbell yesterday. If you want to hear our thoughts on him, the analysis on him, broke down Travion Henderson, the analysis on him. Make sure you guys check that out. And as long as the Patriots pick today, as long as they don't trade down another 10 spots, right? We will be back here breaking down whatever move the New England Patriots make next. So drop in the comment section below who you guys think it is. I think it's either going back to guard or it's going Jack Sawyer.
It's either Jack Sawyer or Wyatt Milam.
That's what I'm predicting. Or crap. Is Dylan Fairchild still on the board?
I don't know.
If Dylan Fairchild's on the board,
is still on the board.
They could also go him. But
Kennard's still on the board.
What you guys think in the comment section below. Leave a big like on the video. If you're watching on Twitter, make sure you follow at Patriots Global. Also, if you're watching on Twitter, make sure you go to YouTube. Link in the description.
Cameron Williams is still on the board.
Cameron Williams, that's another option there for the Patriots. But if you're watching on Twitter, hit that link in my bio. Come on over to YouTube. Make sure you subscribe so that you get notified every single time I post a video, a live stream, a short, a community post. You on Twitter only get notified when I go live. So you want to make sure you are getting notified for everything that I post involving the New England Patriots. But as always, appreciate you guys for kicking it with us, and we will probably see you later today. Go Pats.
Go Pats.